Out today on my Honda GB350. Haven't been out on this bike now for a few weeks, mainly because I bought a CF Motor 450 MT, and also I've been testing that against the Suzuki V-Strom 250 SX. Now, both those bikes, well, CF Motor, that's a 44 horsepower job, the Suzuki's 27. So today I thought I'd bring this particular bike out, the GB350, and see how, 20 horsepower compare to what I've been riding lately. And the big answer to a big question, is 20 horsepower enough? Now, believe it or not, the hardest part I had on today's ride was getting used to a heel and toe shifter I fitted to the bike when I first purchased it, and there she is there. Now, that was the one that caused me the most drama rowdy on today's ride. Now, you wouldn't think that'd cause much issues at all, but when you're used to riding the other ones just with toe shifters on it, and then you swing back to one of these, and heel and toe shifters are definitely my favourite shifter, and even I was struggling riding along, getting it under control for back to a much smoother shift on it because of just using the other two bikes. As far as getting out along the road and cruising along at 100 kilometres an hour, even under these windy conditions, I actually found the little 20 horsepower job, a delight to ride. So it's such a small, nimble bike to move around, non-threatening. So, it's got everything going for it in that line. I did put Moto's Adventure tyres front and rear on it. You can sort of see that there now, and these chunky ones too, because I originally set this bike up to ride dirt. But what I will say, I'm pretty happy with this red paint job on this, because I painted that a couple of months ago. It's nice and shiny, and it was that matte blue. A lot of people like the matte blue. I didn't go much on it. I just wanted to go more a Honda type red. Well, it isn't actually a Honda red, it's called Hell Rot. It's a BMW E36 colour, but overall I think that red paint job sort of suits the bike pretty well. Oh well, not roughly, I've got 7 bikes and they're all virtually new, but if you said to me, oh, you could only have one and this is the one you got to have, would you be happy with it? I actually think I would be, because it's got a really good exhaust note on it when you're going along, so not too loud, but sort of a deep single sort of throb to it. A really nice light clutch, not as light as what's on the CF Motor 450, but it's still a pretty light clutch. Oh yeah, when I did paint this red, I also painted it, did have a tan seat on it, and I sprayed that black too. Honda's biggest mistake, I think, is making such crappy colours. That would be their worst going for it. But out here today, riding along at 100 kilometres an hour, under these conditions, no trouble whatsoever. Ran up a few good hills, maybe not at 100, but if you said what do you notice the difference between this and a 44 horsepower job, well, one, this is a more compact bike to ride, but the main thing people would pick up is the 44 horsepower's got a lot more power, so naturally that's what you expect, double the power. So it can cruise along at 100 kilometres an hour, but could you live without the 44 horsepower? Yeah, I reckon you could. There is really nothing wrong with the 20. Once I would have probably thought, 20 was the ultimate weight, or horsepower. But overall now, coming out here, especially being on this bike now for the first time, anyone that goes out and buys a GB350 should be really happy with the bikes, because they just run that well. The only mistake I made with this one in the beginning, I never used to let it warm up like a lot of the bikes I've got. You can just turn them on, give them 1 minute, get on them and ride off. Well, I had a bit of a problem with this until someone mentioned to me, like when I kicked it over, I used to just ride off in the first minute or so, but I didn't get it was sort of high revving, and I used to get to the corners and I'd still want to keep going without, like as if it was on cruise control. But one of the guys said to me, no, give it a few minutes to warm up till you hear the revs drop right down. So that's what that's what I actually did today, and I did last time out a few weeks back, and no trouble whatsoever. It was just good to ride along like that, no trouble with the throttle. Recommend these Moto's tyres. Well, if you're going to go in that thing and you want to do a bit of dirt road riding, this will really handle dirt road really well. and can get along at a bit of pace. So I would say if you're going to buy one, you'd buy an adventure rear and what they call a DV, I think it is, front, because I've got that on the Suzuki and that's a really good combination, and it doesn't give any problems with vibration like shake, and it doesn't give much tyre noise. This heel and toe shifter on this one, believe it or not, it came off a Classic 350 Reborn. So I had actually two Classic 350 Reborn, sold one, kept the shifter. That shaft fits on this okay, so I went in that direction and put it on that. But overall I think I've done now around about 3,700 kilometres on this bike. Not a huge amount, but leave a comment if you like it in red, or would you prefer the factory blue or black. So that's what we got here. I think at the moment they've got they've got one other model out on this one, but I think they're charging here in Australia $1,000 more for it. I don't know whether I'd pay that much more for it for a bike that's just got a little bit different in the exhaust and a couple of minor things done to it, but as far as things go, I think this one holds up all right. Braking side's good. It's also got, first time here looking at it, it's also got traction control, so you can flick that or press that off if you don't want to use it. So I really ride anywhere without the traction control on it, but I think it's a good added feature. It's appearing to be all right on the economy side too. I haven't had any real issues with it apart from the time it left the road, and I think that was due to a ABS or traction control issue with the sensors, and they were replaced on a Honda recall. So that was the main thing that happened in that line. But overall, with its overall package, how nimble it is, how well it runs through the corners, how good it sounds, it's got a really lot of good points to it. So I think if you said to me, is 20 horsepower enough, after being on the bigger ones, like I couldn't comment before because I'd never had anything above 27 horsepower, but now I've been on the bigger ones and I know how big a handful they are to get onto and ride, unless you've got good body strength and you're a younger rider or something like that. Well, I think if you're I'm over 70, so if you're into that category where you say, the bigger ones around that 200 kilo mark, a little bit hard to handle. With this one here, I'd take it anywhere. If it fell over, I definitely would get this bike up. If I went out on my CF motor and it went over, or maybe the Suzuki too, because I had an issue with it once before, I reckon I'd be in deep crap with that. But a lot of it I think has got to do with how they carry their weight. This one here seems to carry it a bit lower than the other bike, so if you look at it there now, when you look at the top of the cylinder head, well, if you look at it on the other bikes, they're sitting up a lot higher than that, and they just feel bigger bikes when you get up to them, and naturally, they're going to be 450s, they're going to feel bigger. But on the CF motor side, as a 450, well, out along the road, it cruises effortlessly as 100 kilometres an hour, and at times you have to be a little bit careful to make sure you stay the legal speed limit, because here where I am, legal's 100, you go out 100 kilometres and you can get onto a 110, but around here it's 100, and this is where the GB350 comes into its own, because it will handle the 100 kilometres an hour, and it's got most of all of its power in the first, say, 4 gears, and then when you get in the 5th gear it's more of an overdrive. But the big question is, the older you get, how fast do you want to go? Now sooner or later it's all going to go, it's just a matter of how quick you want to move it along. So as at this stage, if you're out here taking it easy on a 20 horsepower job, you're not going to get any problems. You're not going to get out there and overtake everyone on the road either. I do find with the 450, if I really want to overtake anyone, I can. So no doubt what it'd be like on the 70 or 90 horsepower bike or more like that, but now I'm back on 20 today, I know my limits, I can ride along at those limits and say to myself, you can get around here, or you can get over this, or what you can't do and what you can do, and you know where you stand. So that's the best about it. So if you're in the market in one of these GB350s, after coming off those other ones, and I'm still doing tests on those, so if you go to my channel there, or if you want to see any more about this bike, at the end of it I'll put a a clip there or link there where you can get onto, I think, about 15 to 20 clips on this particular bike, and you can make up your mind, you know, what you think about it. But overall, before we go or close this, I'll kick it over and you can hear the exhaust note. So it's a fairly simple one. There you are, 36 Air 3650. So there's our exhaust. Not bad. So overall, I hope you found that too. This is really nice red paint, look at that. That was and that was done with a 2-pack clear coat on a spray can base coat. So overall, you know, that come up pretty good. Fairly happy with that. So I hope you found this a little bit interesting. And back to the finalising, this one, is 20 horsepower enough? Yeah, I think so. Unless you, you know, super fit person or plenty of money to throw around and you want to get something better. You know, I'm pretty sure 20 horsepower will do you. It'll do me, so, you know, I've got no complaints there. But then again, I've got the options to get on the other ones too. But the fact is, this is about, is 20 horsepower enough? So after that, leave a comment there if you think it's enough, and you can let me know on that side too. Maybe I'm wrong. Cheers.